Please welcome Joe Frost. Hello, how nice to see you. Have you noticed we're all sitting up a lot straighter all of a sudden, aren't we? we don't want to be sent to that naughty step yet.
No.
It's great to see you. Do you know what I loved about that clip? And you've often mentioned this about getting down to the child's level, but you literally mean physically, don't you? You get right down there, and it's very poignant.
Very much so. I'm kind of like this half the time, literally. And I was bouncing on the trampoline before we had that conversation. So it just goes to show you, you mustn't underestimate children, as you guys know.
It's interesting, though, because you are quite strict, and yet by doing that thing of going down to them, you're kind of... It's that line between joining them and becoming one of them, which can be a mistake, can't it? Because then you have to give the discipline. So it's a very fine line.
Well, I think they know by just how you are with them. They can sense that. I mean, it's the gap between us here that they can sense, that you have that authority, that you're there to protect them, to make decisions for them because they are your children and you're looking after them. Yet at the same time, it doesn't mean that you can't be youthful. It doesn't mean that the inner child in you can't come out and actually,
So what issues are you actually tackling on the show, apart from eating?
Because this is extreme parental
Yes, it is,
guidance.
and this was an extreme situation. Dear Rio, bless him, he would only eat bread and butter.
What, all the time?
Yes, he would only eat bread and butter, and that emotionally had taken its toll on the family. It really was an incredibly stressful time.
Why didn't his mum just say, give him something else and make him eat it?
Because she had gone through every scenario that you could possibly think of, and old behaviour patterns had set in, and we really needed to get to a place where she started to behave differently and really trust what she knew inevitably needed to happen.
Do you think it needs someone like you, Joe? Because when you're, as a parent, it's very easy to say, well, why don't you just do this and don't do that? But when it's you with your child, sometimes the child plays you up, and then someone like you will come in and they have more respect for you because you're not their parent. And it needs that kind of...
Well, I think in this case, really, it was an objective standpoint. Emotionally, Rio's mother was so involved. And, there was a lot on top.
That's the eating thing, which lots of parents have. What other problems did you find was a big problem across the country? Because you're looking at this as a bigger, wider issue,
correct. I mean, extreme parental guidance is looking at bigger issues in society overall. So, we're looking at hyperactivity and sleep deprivation and the reality of behaviour and parents and their relationship. We're also looking at computer games. We've been looking at body image and influences with young women growing up with role models as their parents and how much influence that we're making on society.
Has parenting changed over the last, 10, 20 years?
I think it has with regards to we've become more conscious. We're now really self-aware of how we want to raise our own children and the values and what's important. And I feel that's why, shows that our Mind, for example, that we're doing right now are really allowing parents to feel empowered because they have the information. Going out and pulling from all corners and saying, here is the information, and now you make some decisions that are going to ultimately make you feel more confident. Because going up and down Great Britain, I realised that a lot of parents had lost their confidence.
Well, the thing is, I loved your programmes, the Super Nanny programmes, because Jack was quite little and I was going through all the tantrums and things. It's that there is no book. Nobody tells you how to do it, and people just assume that you just become a parent and you should know all these things. What about in America, as you took the Super Nanny show to America? Did you find a difference there, the way they parent?
Not really. I mean, we still see the same issues, although they a little bit more sensitive when I was giving them constructive criticism. They can't really take it on the chin like us Brits.
I saw one where they really got upset with you, really cried.
Yeah, they'd be upset because the truth is not always easy to swallow. I mean, we've all had to look at ourselves, or somebody has had to chin check us and say, hold on a minute, and we've had to do self-assessment and think, hold on a minute. But that's what takes us through our own personal growth.
Are you actually re-educating the parents then? Is that what you go in and realise you have to do?
I think it's important that I do that, yes, most definitely.
But do you not think there's been a lot, actually, that actually there's a whole generation of parents who try to be friends with their children. The discipline's gone. Where did that go
It's
wrong?
a fine line, isn't it?
Yes.
Trying to get a balance of being their friend and their disciplinarian at the same time.
Well, the fact is that the friendship comes within the relationship of you being the parent first. When your children grow up, you realise you have this wonderful friendship, but you were always the mother and the father first.
It's a fine line.
You know, your friends don't take... Well, no, because your friends don't take responsibility or make decisions for you like your parents do.
So what do you think
of... to tell them off? It's only when you come in and say, look, this is what you do. You say no.
Yeah.
What do you think of... We were talking today earlier about women having children younger. Do you think we are leaving it too young? You know, and therefore you're kind of tireder and it's harder. When you're young, you don't, like Lisa said, you don't worry so much and you just more naturally...
Well, I think the wonderful thing about society evolving is that us women have a choice. We have a choice.
Yeah.
You know,
we do run out of time eventually.
Well, no, I mean, I think I've very clearly said time and time again, if egotistically we need to biologically have children, then we're going to think about that. But quite frankly, we can adopt. I mean, there's so many people that adopt in the world, and they are foster parents, and they do so good for so many children that need to be loved. I mean, you don't biologically need to have your own children to love another child.
Have you made a choice? Because you're obviously quite career-orientated.
Yeah, but I consciously make a choice not to have children right now. But, you know, when I'm in a relationship and we decide that we're going to have children together, or I may not be in a relationship and I may be a woman thinking, right, I want to be a mother now.
And would you do it on your own?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. If that's how I felt that I wanted to, yeah, most definitely.
You could cope with anything on your own. 25 children.
I know there are lots of men out there who like your little naughty step, I have to say, so I'm sure you won't be on your own for very long. That is extreme parental guidance. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on Channel 4. Don't miss it. Jo, thank you. Jo Frost, everybody.
Thank you.